Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. Today, we are going over episode 91. And I am one of your hosts this week, Wrestling Chris G. And on the other line with me is my shocking brother. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, my man, how you doing today?
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
Just gonna shock everybody right out the bat. Just cursing right out the chute.
You're in a mood. I'm usually the first one to drop a bomb on the show.
I mean, you can't call me shocking and then just expect me to say, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm swell, I'm just happy to be here."
No, you just shocked the audience. This is this
Yeah,
this this is a child's very first episode that they're listening to this week. They just found us and they're like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They say bad words on this podcast."
well, we've got the little E on every episode, and B, if you look into the show notes, it clearly specifies explicit. So
It really does. Even though people still get a little perturbed, they're like, "Man, you should really make your show PG." I mean, that's easier to say than actually doing it because there's occasions where I just don't even catch myself. I mean, we'll label the show PG, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, "Fuck."
exactly, and that's more editing on your part. I mean, yeah, because you could go in there and you could find them, but that means you got to re-listen to an episode at least one time,
Yeah,
and make notes, and then have to go back and re-listen to it to make sure you got stuff right. And it's just for a hour and 15-minute episode. It's I mean
that's a lot of
that's
work.
that's ridiculous.
It is. So that being said, we are an explicit podcast. But
Yeah,
how are you
sounds like
doing, Doug?
I'm good. I'm not used to still seeing the sunshine when we sit down to record, so that's a little. Um,
For real, we're recording this extra early, almost 2 hours early than what we normally do.
Trying to figure out what I haven't really been doing much, which I mean, can be a good thing and a bad thing. Let's see.
You want to know? You want to know what I've been up to, bro?
No, I don't need to hear it. Let me talk for a minute after before you tell the fine audience what you've been doing or what you haven't been doing. Um, let's see. At the time of recording, um, so it's July 12th.
Yes.
So I'm excited because the Bob's Burgers movie is on streaming, and I plan on watching that either Friday night or sometime Saturday. So
Oh,
that's exciting.
I just watched that today. I actually just
Yeah,
watched that a few hours ago.
yeah. See, so I mean, I wasn't able to go out in the theaters and see it, and none of the bootleg versions excited me. And then when I did a little bit of googling, it was like, oh, it'll be on HBO Max and Hulu on the 12th, and I was like, well, I can wait that long at that point. Um, so I'll be watching that at some point.
Good movie. Just to give you
Yeah,
some type of expectations. It is a good movie.
C Note saw it and he raved about it. And then when I told him it was coming today, he was like, "I'll probably sit down and rewatch it." So that's good. And let's see, after we get off of this recording, I'm gonna watch night one of Fighter Fest. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, probably about it. What have you been up to? You're more exciting than I am.
Oh man, if this was the WWE, I would have lost. But I'm my third battle with COVID. I currently have COVID, and I have been shut down in the lower level of my home for the past. Let's see, what does today make? So we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So it's been 6 days that I've been down here.
So I was mistaken on your timeline because I thought you had said that your plan was to, unless you didn't get the required test result. I thought your plan was to test today and you were going to be out.
Yeah, well, I was supposed to test yesterday, which I did. Um, and I'm still COVID, and I still have a fever. So, um, if you hear, I'm gonna try to not cough as much through the actual episode. If you hear one or two slip through, I'm sorry.
I
Um,
suggest on Twitter he'll send you $5.
no, do not.
Oh, okay.
I will not. Um, that'll be Doug in the background going, that wasn't me.
Oh, well,
uh,
I'm not worried about it. You already owe me $55, so I'm not worried about it.
oh yeah, Mr. Chris owes me 55 in his phone. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna do some of my wife's grandmother's remedies, and I'm going to do that and um hopefully kill this fever tonight because I'm still sitting at a 102 right now.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that bad. It could be worse. I've been fluctuating between 101 and 102, and I'm currently sitting at a 102. So, but yeah, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm not scared of COVID. With this being my third round, I'm just very lonely and a lot of video calls to my wife upstairs to bring me food. But other than that, I got my
Mm.
own. I have my own shower down here. I got my own toilet down here. I got a whole theater room. So I'm kind of good for the most part.
Other than the fact that you can only masturbate so much.
For real. Yes. 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 I.
um, I was gonna say something else. I completely, as soon as you said I'm all alone down here, my mind immediately went to masturbation, and I completely lost.
So you know what Doug be doing when he's all by himself, everybody.
Hey, listen, I've made no secret over the fact that what I do in the privacy of my own room is my own business.
Oh man.
So
So
obviously everybody else in the house is good. You know,
yes,
if
I
you're
am the only one. I got it, and I ain't scared to say it. I got it from my damn sister-in-law. So that's a whole thing in itself, and she's already COVID free. She tested negative yesterday. I was like, ah, lucky you. I still
well,
got a damn fever.
she's younger than you. You know, she works through her system quicker.
Yeah, and she works at a fast food joint, so I'm sure that kind of helped too. So,
Yeah, because she's probably been exposed. She probably gets exposed every day. It's probably just. Oh, I know what I was gonna say originally before I got sidetracked because I'm a pervert. I think it's also important to say that you have had your vaccinations. So
yes,
if anybody tries to be smart in the comments, say, "Well, get the shots, dumbass." Well, no, he's gotten his shots, and it's been a while actually.
yeah,
You were among the first people that I knew.
yeah. I got my shots, and I mean, I'm not pushing it on anybody, but I think that this round, with me having the fever as long as I've had it and it not breaking, that it would have been a lot worse if I had not gotten the shot. But that's just my own belief, everybody. That's just what I believe. I'm not pushing you to go and get it, and this is not a preach to go and get it. It's your own preference, but yeah, that's what's going on in Wrestling Chris G's home right now. I'm currently in. I'm actually recording in my office for once, because I actually have my office now. Because my wife had taken it over for the longest time, but I'm actually in here, so my internet connection with you, Doug, should be no problem at all. And you want to know what's funny? I have two TVs in here. I have two 32-inch TVs in the room that I'm in. I got one connected to my Nintendo Switch, and I got one connected to my cable, or if you want to call it cable, TV for me to watch anything else.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's a hell of a first world sentence right there.
I know, right? uh I should be in the theater room playing on the Switch, but I've been lazy and laying in bed and just playing it.
I feel
I'm
that.
actually playing Pokemon Arceus again. I've started that game back up. So
Is
that's
it?
what I'm playing.
All right. Well, I am in the dying stages of Madden 22, trying to dot all my I's and cross all my T's before 23 comes out middle of August.
Oh, it comes out in August. So I must did when did they switch that? Didn't it used to come out around November?
Oh no.
No.
Oh no. You no, it's never. It's always it's July, August for the longest time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You're talking November. You're talking the football season's almost over at that point.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Okay.
I think you're
That
thinking. I think you're thinking of WWE games.
yeah, I probably am. And Pokemon. Pokemon comes out
Yeah,
always
Pokemon as well. Yeah.
in November. So, oi. So, other than that, Doug, today is episode 91 that we're doing today, and it is titled Shell Shock, or translated from Japanese, The Secret of the Kabuto Fossils.
See,
You
I
know,
respect the Japanese translations because they don't mess around with any like special meanings. If you know, you know. They say no. This is what it is on the tin. This is the episode.
take it or
This is
leave
what
it.
you're getting. Yeah, this is what you're getting ready to watch for 22 minutes.
So, this premiered March 25th, 1999. And here in the States, actually, wow, this is kind of out of order, but this premiered March 4th, 2000. And I'll still say it in the next episode, but the next episode is Stage Fight, and that premiered February 12th. So this episode looks like it premiered. Why is it up? Oh, well, I guess it premiered out of order here in the States. So we actually got episode 92 and 93, then they went back to 91 and then 94 when they premiered them here in the US. That's pretty weird.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what was going on. Because let's see, if I go back to the one prior, yeah, in the pink, the last episode we did, that premiered the same day as Stage Fight.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll do a little bit of googling, and we may or may not have an answer for you next week,
Yes, there we go.
2 weeks, or whenever we get back around to doing a Kanto episode.
So, but yeah, everybody, premiered March 4th, 2000. So literally a whole year and yeah, a whole year and a couple weeks apart from these two.
Damn.
So, but yeah, you ready to jump on into this week's episode, bro?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and get on into it. So, and I'm gonna make this a thing. So we started this week's episode in the middle of the ocean again. As our heroes are riding on top of Lapras and they're drifting towards their next venture so Ash can get his next gym badge, his second out of four that he will need to go into the Orange Island Pokemon League. Eh,
Yes. So, did they have the intention of this being like a shorter season? I mean, I'm saying this, and I could probably easily Google because like you go from 8 badges in the to get into the Pokemon League to just 4 to get into the Orange Islands Championship.
Yeah, the way that I kind of feel is when this was in Japan, and this is all, and this is without me having to Google and just
Hmm.
watching the show. I'm guessing around the times that the video games that the Orange Islands was the intermediate like stance for Pokemon because we never got a video game based off of the Orange Islands ever. I
No,
mean,
right.
there you can go online and people have taken the actual Pokemon games and they've remapped it and redesigned the games to where you can do the Orange Islands. You can download that online. Those games are actually pretty fun, but we never got an official. So I think this was like in between like gold and silver coming out and red, blue, green, and yellow being out. So this was like right in the middle of those games because we do have Meryl, who is Tracy's Pokemon, who is the very first Johto Pokemon to be seen.
Yes.
Yes. I'm guessing the Pokemon Company and Game Freak were like, this Meryl is not a Pikachu, everybody. It is not a Pikachu. We will give it to him. Let's just get this rumor out and get it squashed. So, yes, that's just my belief. I just think this was like the middle ground right before they were getting ready to advertise full heartedly and strong because we do get 8 badges again in the Johto.
Right. And I think, I think your theory does hold some water just based on the fact that, I mean, as of this episode that we're watching, we have only seen Marrow in terms of, oh, look, another Pokemon. So I do think your theory has some weight behind it.
And I'm doing some math here real quick.
Oh boy.
Minus, let's see. So yeah, the Orange Islands is actually only 35 episodes.
Okay, yeah, and that was going to be my next question because, like I say, I started my question with did they intend on this being a short series or yeah, short series, and then you look and it's like no, it had 80 episodes. So yeah, 35 episodes, 4 badges to get into the championship. I think it just needed a bridge
Yep.
to the next phase, next game, however you wanted to phrase it.
Yeah, and looking at this, they pulled these episodes out at least in Japan every single week. So they went full hard with this from January 28th every single week all the way up until October 7th. So that was actually I'm gonna Google real quick because now we're in this conversation. When did Pokemon Gold come out? Let's see. It came out November 20. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Literally, they ended this series a month before Gold and Silver came out. So
there
yeah,
you go.
there's your answer right there. So
Yep.
we're watching this in the U.S. and they Gold and Silver is already out at
Yes.
by the time that we're playing this. So,
Yes.
but okay,
Well,
all
there
right.
you go. This is why you
that
ask questions.
so all right. But so they're riding on top of Lapras, and Misty is talking about how the skies are so blue and they're having such a great time. Ash is saying, "Aren't you having a great time?" And Pikachu's like, "Pika!" And Togepi's having a good time, and they're all looking so happy. And Tracy's like, with the ocean temperatures this high, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw lots of cool Pokemon swimming by. And he starts looking out, and we see two boats just come by, speeding by, and just splashes the mess out of Lapras and our 3 heroes. And Misty is just mad. Could in so little words, she's basically screaming. She's like, "You have the whole ocean, and why did you have to come over here and spray us?" And Togepi's like, "Toge!" And Tracy's like, "Man, I wonder why they're in such a hurry." And then he sees that they're going over to an island, and Tracy's like, it looks like they're headed over to that island over there. And Ash, of course, being the 10-year-old he is, I'm surprised he's like, yeah, I don't want to go there. I want to go and get my next badge. But for once, he's actually like, maybe we should go check this out. And Pikachu's like, Pika. And then we get the title sequence. Doug, take it over, my brother.
Yeah, so they don't give you a lot of time to mess around. They say, no, this is what we're doing. They're going towards that island. Here's the title. So we our heroes finally hit dry land, and we get the obligatory take a rest in your Pokeball, Lapras. And I don't understand why they make Lapras get on the land with them. I think they could just jump from, I don't know, about the shore, and then they could, but anyway, whatever. Um, and we hear a TV news reporter giving a report, um, talking about the recent speculation, um, about the island they're on. It's so lush with all the greenery, but it's uninhabited by humans, and they're looking to unlock the secret. And they're speculating: is it an extinct Pokemon? Um, and they say they've got an archaeological team about ready to begin, like the digging process, and they say they're going to follow, with coverage basically wall to wall. And this is when we finally get the first drop of the name Kabuto.
Yes.
So they kind of know what they're going at, but so what Ash is overhearing is basically a vague, summary, but she's obviously broadcasting to an audience that's been keeping up with this thing since it started. So as a viewer of this specific Pokemon episode, we're a little bit in the dark. If you're watching this news report, you're like, okay, this is just day X of the coverage.
Yes. So, and Ash, of course, does not remember anything when it comes to Kabuto because remember he had an encounter with Kabuto already, but
Yes.
it was the same episode with Ammonite and Aerodactyl, but they were all saying to sleep, and they woke up, and when they woke up, everybody was like, "Okay, well, there's nothing to see here, everybody. I guess Jigglypuff just likes to draw on our faces, so he knows nothing." And all all of these news reporters are finding these Kabuto fossils, but they want to find them and study them. So
Mm-hmm.
Tracy is over here. He's like, man, this will be very good for my art book. He's like, maybe we should stay here and watch them and study. And Ash pulls open Dexter and looks up Kabuto, and Dexter goes, Kabuto, the ancient Pokemon. Though this Pokemon is now believed to be extinct, it had a hard shell that protected its body and is believed to have been a very powerful swimmer. And then we go back over to the reporter, and the reporter is like, now let's get an up close and personal perspective from the investigation of the archaeological team. Can you speak to us, please? And out comes Nurse Joy. And I do like that they differentiated these Nurse Joys on the Orange Islands. They all these Nurse Joys have a really like tan to them compared to all the rest of the Kanto Nurse Joy's, Doug.
Yeah, I'd be pretty upset if you had a Nurse Joy that spent the majority of her time on an island. Granted, she'd be, inside, but if she spent the majority of her time on an island and she was still pale white, it's like, okay, so you're just actively avoiding the sun. You're wearing like SPF 70 and carrying an umbrella, and
For real. So, and Nurse Joy goes on to say, yeah, we're studying the Kabuto. It is said that there might be more Kabuto fossils over here, and we're also looking for within the fossils Kabuto oil. And the reporter is like, please tell us just what these startling claims are. And she said, and Nurse Joy goes, well, legend has it that the oil from a Kabuto shell not only brings, um, it skipped, but brings,
not only brings people good health, but can help, individuals live forever. And then we get the trio in unison say, "Live forever." So basically, as a viewer, we go, "Oh shit,"
so that's how Ash has stayed 10 years old this whole time. He
Yeah,
got he got to touch a damn Kabuto shell, and he stayed 10 forever. So that's how. So time is really moving, but Ash is just not getting any older.
because we know the boy doesn't like to take baths, so it's not like he's going to get clean on the regular.
It would be a damn shame if his ass is still dirty and he spends most of his time in the ocean. Just saying. We know he keeps a thing of swimming trunks in that backpack. So um so they continue and they're like, of course, we know that that's impossible, but there could be some basis to the legend, and any Kabuto oil may prove to be great historical importance in medical science. And the reporter's like, oh man, fascinating. Doug, you want to take it over from here?
And this is when we get
Ash
Ash
and
and
Tracy.
Tracy just pop up and they say we volunteer to help with the excavation, and um, Tracy immediately goes into his credentials. He's like, I'm a Pokemon watcher, and I just get me a chance. I could draw, and Nurse Joy's completely taken off guard, taken off guard, and mind you, this is live television, so Ash immediately turns around and says, "Don't worry, Professor Oak. Um, he's like, I'm gonna do my best to bring back one of those Kabuto fossils." And he's Tracy's up in the camera, and Ash says, "Say hi to mom for me." And according to your theory, he would just have to look over to his left and say hello. Um, and
You know,
uh,
to be completely honest, you would think that Ash wouldn't be this starstruck with a camera. I mean, he saw a straight up movie producer not too long ago.
yeah, but he's still 10, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is
You
still
know.
tired.
So and Tracy's like, "Do you remember me, Professor Oak? I'm Tracy." And then the uh the reporter, she's pissed. She's like, we gotta cut. We gotta lose this. Get out of the camera. What are you doing?" And freaking
Misty.
Misty runs over and puts Ash in a full Nelson. Says, "What are you doing, embarrassing yourself? You're ridiculous. You're making us look stupid." And Pikachu's like, "Okay, I'm fine with you, giving Ash the business, but let me jump off his shoulder first. Goddamn."
For real.
And we fade back out into the water, and we see a periscope poking up, and of course we go down and we see the Magikarp submarine of Team Rocket, and Jessie is on lead, of course. She says, there's a camera crew on the island, and of course the twerps are involved, and we can tell that she's not pedaling, while Jessie and Meowth are pedaling their little hearts out. Um,
James and
and
Meowth.
I said Jessie, I think. Um, and Meowth pops up from the back, and he's like, "If we hurry up, we can catch Pikachu, and you know, maybe get our faces on that TV, get a little exposure for Team Rocket." Um,
Which
which
you
I
would
don't
want to
think,
be stupid. That would be so stupid. Why would you
yeah,
want to put your face for the entire world to see? Giovanni would be heated. He's like, what are these idiots doing?
because I imagine he takes his time to like carefully craft his television persona. He's this suave guy, and meanwhile you got these three low level employees. Just, we're Team Rocket, and we steal shit, and we're bad guys, like right on live television.
So we come back over to the island, and Nurse Joy is like, all right, everybody, let's go. And the reporter is over here. She's taking her job so seriously. She's like, they dedicate, this dedicated band of explorers is beginning their trip over to find all of these mysterious Kabuto fossils. All right, let's go. We'll have to, let's see, we'll be here to record every dramatic moment. And then we get some nice little Growlips, which are Nurse Joy's Pokemon. We see a bunch of Machokes, and they're just all walking over to find all of these fossils. And Ash is like, man, well, those Kabuto fossils just better watch out for me. And Pikachu's like, Pika. And then they're walking. And of course, we see in the corner, we see a mysterious guy who's completely blacked out, just peeking from around the corner. And
Right.
they keep going, and they're just doing their little walk, and Nurse Joy is looking around, and Ash is just following. It's just honestly, this is I wish we could just kind of fast forward here, but we can't because there's a little bit of dialogue. But this is just a bunch of just walking, and the reporter is like, man, along these treacherous mountain paths, but those brave explorers seem impeccable of fear. And then we have,
Capable.
oh, incapable of fear, I'm sorry. And then freaking we jump to a scene of Misty just
This is
scared.
irresponsible. This is irresponsible. So she's scared shitless. She's hugging the mountain range, and
Nope, nobody
she's
made her go over there.
nobody made her go over there, and she's got poor Togepi on her shoulder because she's using both of her arms to like velcro herself to the side of this cliff, and she's just looking down. She's petrified. Togepi doesn't know any better. He's and then so we get a quick shot of the expedition crew uh, up on a top side of the mountain, and then we go all the way down.
And Team Rocket found a road.
Team Rocket, yeah, found like the lowest road, and of course, the only person that's slubbing any of this equipment is James, and he's struggling. He's a yeah, hey, and obviously Meowth and Jesse, they're fine because they're not even dressed for freaking hiking. I mean, Jesse's still in her thigh high boots, and poor Meowth is just bare paws on this freaking rocky path. And also, before we go on with the episode, I want to give props to the cameramen that are walking up this mountain with a fucking heavy ass,
Camera
late
set.
90s, early 2000 camera just on their shoulder.
For
Fuck.
real. I mean,
Hazard pay.
now we can nowadays we can just sit here with our camera in our pocket, especially with how these iPhones and Androids are with their cameras. You can make movies on these things now. But back then you had these big bulky cameras and everything.
Yeah. So
So
this guy's lugging this equipment. He can't drop it because it's probably a couple grand to the studio, and he's walking up these mountains, and that's ridiculous. Like I say, like I hope he's getting like overtime and a half and patient after the shoot's done because I mean this is ridiculous.
for
And
real.
so we go back to Team Rocket, and Jesse and Meowth are kind of reading James the riot act because he's fallen so far behind, and he finally collapses. And he's like, "Yo, it's easy for you to sit here and say that when you're not lugging this heavy backpack." Um, and
good
Jesse's
good
like, "Well,"
good for standing up for himself for a second.
Nobody told you to bring that backpack." And James immediately shoots up. He's like, "Nobody told you to bring that nasty attitude either."
He's had it. So, and then we jump straight from that back over to our heroes, and our heroes are walking up a big hill, and then all of a sudden we see a mysterious leg just come over and then push this big old boulder down, and the boulder starts tumbling down towards our heroes, and everyone just starts running. And Misty, of course, again with Togepi in her bag about to have scrambled eggs, is like, we're
Yeah,
gonna get squashed if we don't think fast. I mean, capture your damn Togepi and put her in a Pokeball.
right. I
I
mean,
mean,
look, it's weird because obviously you've got Ash and Pikachu, but at least Pikachu has a little bit more agency for himself. You
Pikachu
know,
also has a Pokeball.
right? He does have a Pokeball. That is true. Professor Oak did give him a Pokeball, and Pikachu literally thumbed his nose at it um, in the pilot episode, but it's still around.
Yes, it's still in the backpack because Ash has to
So
have it.
So
Because he,
as this giant, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
No, I was about to say he can't hold 7 Pokemon.
No, even if he could, he would still have two open slots because he's an idiot.
Yeah, for
Um,
real.
so as this giant boulder is barreling down on them, this poor reporter is still, reporting, and I imagine the cameramen are still holding their cameras, and I mean we're doing a scene straight out of Indiana Jones, and we see that the guy kicked this boulder with sandals on, which is kind of impressive. Um, so they're running, and Misty's praying to her God, and oh, what is he's like, and then Ash runs alongside Nurse Joy, and she's like, "What about the Machoke?" Um, and Nurse Joy's like, "Well, that's a swell idea." And
Yeah, the Machoke were running from the damn
and
boulder, and the Machoke can easily stop the damn boulder.
they do.
They do, and it doesn't take
Uh,
much effort. They literally basically just turn around, put their arms out, and toss it over the edge.
and the reporter's like, "A super powered pair of Machokes have saved the day." And of course, where does the boulder land?
On
And
Team
it
Rocket.
lands right on Team Rocket. Um, Jesse and Meowth have enough time to scramble just feet to safety, but of course James is practically immobile because of the heavy backpack, and he gets knocked down the damn canyon.
Yeah,
He
and they don't go to help.
he's dead.
Yeah.
James is dead. We just saw a man die, and all Team Rocket can say is, "Oh."
So we go back to our heroes and we see a little figure in the back behind the rock, and this time Pikachu kind of hears it with its Pokemon ears, and and turns around, and of course the figure's gone. And
And
Ash is like, huh? He's like, nothing's there, Pikachu. And Pikachu's like, Pika. And then they start walking, and then the figure comes around the corner of the rock that he's standing behind again. And then we jump straight forward to them finding a big old opening in the middle of the island, and this looks to be where the Kabuto might be. It's just an open area, open sea, and it looks like there might be a cave somewhere, and that's what they're saying. They're like, man, this must be the desolate northern shore. And then the camera kind of pans up, and then you see a nice little opening at the very bottom where the fossils might have come from. Right, Doug?
so, as the reporter is filling us in with that information, she says the team has already gotten to work behind me. Um, Excavating and trying to make a discovery. And he says, we've got Rhydons and Machokes lending a hand as well. We see a Rhydon drilling into some rock, and we see Machokes are schlepping some boulders, and we've got some brushes, and
And
everybody.
we see Ash and Pikachu with pickaxes.
And Togepi's got a little pebble. It's adorable. And Misty's just sitting there. Why is Misty sitting there? Don't tell me, lift a hand. You got two of them. Um,
She doesn't even want to be there.
well, she almost died
Twice.
twice. And, they say, well, we got to be diligent, but it's going to be worth it. And, Tracy's got a rock on he's looking at it with a magnifying glass. And then from a peak above, we see another boulder is wobbling, and Pikachu sees a little pebble fall, and he looks up just in time for the boulder to come loose, and
And
everybody scrambles.
this person is literally trying to commit murder. Why is this guy not in jail?
Yeah, this is a felony. There's like multiple attempted cases here. 'Cause
Yes.
he doesn't just tip one rock. He basically starts a slide, and Nurse Joy's trying to get everybody away to safety, and you see little figures running in the dust, and of course the lady is still. I mean, she's gonna win an award or something. Um, 'Cause she's still recording. The guy's still got the camera rolling. Um, and everybody else is running. She's reporting, and then um,
You would think if they were to turn in this footage, it would be worthy of an award, but we'll soon find out later why they won't be getting an award.
one of the big boulders hits a little pebble, or not a pebble, but kind of a medium-sized rock, and it launches itself in the air right towards the camera crew and everybody, and they're basically stuck frozen. And Nurse Joy says, "Right on, use horn drill." And, basically catches it in midair.
That ride on was freaking trained. Like
Nurse Joy's got a heck of a setup. She's got two Machokes and a Ride-On, and she's got
growl
two
lift
Growlithe that look loyal as fuck. I mean, she's got a hell of a team if she ever wanted to become a trainer.
for real. I'm sure she could compete in the Orange Islands, but I think it's against the rules.
Yeah. So considering that she works with everybody's Pokemon and stuff, and
But
and once
this is when Misty starts making the assumption. I don't think these are accidents. I think somebody's out here trying to get rid of us.
you're right,
And Tracy's like, "Come on, this island is deserted." And then Pikachu finally in the back sees the old man just running in the background of the forest. So Pikachu just takes off. And Ash is like,
takes off.
"Pikachu." And everyone's like, "Ash, wait." And they just go running. And Pikachu is running after this man. And they're just like, "Oh, what are you doing, Pikachu?" And Pikachu's like, "Pikachu." And Ash is like, "Oh, so he's the one that's been dropping all those rocks on us." And so Pikachu is just running, and Ash dodges into a bunch of trees to try to cut him off. Why isn't Pikachu using Thundershock right now? And
Right.
Ash just jumps out of a bush and goes, "Ah!" And Pikachu's like, "Yeah, I got you too." And he's like, "All right, you." And then this big old man stands up and throws Pikachu and Ash off of him. And Ash is like, "Ow." And he's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "What do you want with us?" And Pikachu's like, "Pika." And this guy's like, "Leave this island before it's too late." And then we go into a who's that Pokemon? And of course, it's Ponyta. Why is it Ponyta? I have no fucking idea, but it is. And then we continue the adventure, and we come back from commercial break, and the guy's like, "Leave this island before it's too late." And then Ash is like, "What?" And everyone in the background's like, "Ash, what are you doing? Is everything okay?" And they're just running. He's like, yeah." He's like, "And the guy who's behind those rocks is right here. That's him." And the sun's beaming behind him, so we still can't see him. And then it finally focuses in, and we see it's an old man. And he's like, I tell you the same thing I told him. Get off this island." And Nurse Joy's like, "Man, are you the one that's responsible for all of these boulders and accidents?" He's like, "You bet I am." And then we go straight over to the reporter. "Doug,
She's like, we have a shocking reveal. This deranged old man is claims responsibility for all these brutal attacks." And he looks over to the camera and he runs into it.
you're damn right."
He says I'm not old and I'm not deranged, and he gets right up in the camera, so kind of deranged. And he's like, "I'm trying to,
Do you a big favor.
yeah, do all these people a big favor." And the reporter's like, "Oh, a big favor, really? By trying to fucking pancake us?" And he and Misty's like, "All you've accomplished today was putting everybody's lives in danger multiple times." And Pikachu's like, "Yeah." And the old guy's like, "Well, that's not necessarily true. I was trying to scare you to protect you from the danger," which, I mean, it was still ridiculous because it still could have, you know, still the rocks could have caused some damage. And
Could have caused some serious harm.
And Tracy's like, "Oh, protect us from what? What kind of danger?" And
And Nurse Joy's like,
um,
tell us what you're
tell us
talking
what you're
about.
talking. I mean, this poor guy's basically surrounded, and then he's like, "Oh, to hell with this!" And he grabs the reporter's microphone, and like
The
he's like,
reporter's
"That's
like,
my."
that's my job.
And he basically goes, he's like, "Hear the ancient prophecy," and we get we get this ominous purple lighting, and he's like, when the scavengers arrive, the moon will glow an angry red, and the land itself will vanish to be swallowed by the sea. And
That is a key line that we end up finding out in this episode, everybody.
And Tracy, of all people, looks to Ash and goes, "What does he mean, swallowed by the sea?" Like Ash has a fucking clue what day it is, even, let alone what some crazy old man is talking about with a ancient prophecy. And the old man continues. He says, "If you disturb this island, you will bring about great harm." And more lightning. And Nurse Joy's trying to play peacemaker. She's like, "We didn't come here to harm the island. We came here to study Kabuto fossils, and that's it. We don't want to harm anything." And you cannot disturb you cannot disturb what lies here. Now
Now
you
go.
get out of here. And
And Misty's like, man, why are you blaming us for disturbing your precious island, huh? She's like, you're the one that's disturbing the island by rolling those boulders and causing rockside avalanches. And Ash is like, yeah, she's got a point there. And the guy's caught off guard. He's like, huh? Quiet! Just stop arguing and get off this damn island. And another researcher comes running around the corner. He's like, "We found one! We found one! We've just found another Kabuto fossil!" And
yeah,
Nurse Joy's like, "Oh, let's see it!" And then they just start running, and the old man's like, "Oh, fuck!"
son of a bitch.
And then we go straight to where it looks like they've been here for a couple hours now. So they've been excavating this site and finding all sorts of fossils so far. But now we're inside of the cave and they're just walking about and they walk over to this wall. And I'm sorry, and I might be just a little creeped out by this, but I wouldn't want to touch any of those fossils the way that those fossils look. Like these Kabuto were literally just sticking to the wall. They remind me of little tiny beetles. Like in
Yeah.
my like in my pool, like every when I go in to clean my pool, before I get in it, there's always a bunch of beetles that committed suicide inside of my damn pool. So I'm constantly scooping them out, scooping them out of my damn pool. And
Jesus
then there'll
Christ.
always be that one little oddball when I'm trying to empty out the net and it's crawling up the net. And I'm like, ugh, get off of here. And that's what it reminds me of when I see these damn kabutos on the wall. They just look so creepy. Doug?
And so Nurse Joy's looking and she's like, "Well, these are definitely Kabuto fossils." And, the reporter's like, "You've just seen it here. You know,
Looks like a
we
bunch of
have
pimples.
discovered an actual Kabuto fossils right here on PXTV. It's an exclusive." And Tracy's looking and he's like, "I got another one." And, and honestly, if he just looked around, he'd say, "Oh shit, it's up there." And that's when he starts saying, "Oh, actually, it's kind of everywhere." And unfortunately, the lighting in this cave isn't as good as it should be, but it is a cave.
He's like, I found
And
one. Oh, here's another one. Oh, there's another one right here.
Nurse Joy basically sums everything up, and she goes, "It looks like this cave is covered in Kabuto fossils." And the camera pans out, and it's like you said, it's just a bunch of freaking pimples,
Yes,
look-alikes.
just
And
nasty.
somebody says it sure doesn't look like fossils. And she's like, "See, the Kabuto shells are just stuck to the wall." And she pulls one out, and you can kind of see some legs. Um,
coming
Um,
out of the fossil.
she puts it back, and Ash goes, "This is amazing." And Pikachu's like, "No shit." And the reporter gets right into frame, and she's like, "This is some kind of underground graveyard grotto." And
It's actually a monument constructed by these incredible calluses,
yeah, and um,
Kabuto
one of the
carcasses.
one of the researchers goes running off and says, "Let's bring the ride on in and start collecting." And the old guy's like, "You gotta cut this shit out. You're gonna. This is a disaster. You're gonna bring upon a disaster to this island, and we're not gonna survive. You're just being an idiot." And the guy, the researcher tries to get a bit of a backbone. He's like, "We're not disturbing. We're collecting." Like, fuck you, dude. You are kind of disturbing. Um, and just as he says that, the cave starts to shake, and
Nurse
boulders
Joy,
come crashing down,
Nurse
and
Joy
she's
tells
like,
everyone to get out.
and the reporter at this point's loving this because she's like, our exclusive report is taking yet another dramatic twist, and she's in love with all of this.
Yeah.
And
And
what could it
then we
be this
have
time?
Jesse and James come crashing through the top of the cage. I mean
They do their
the cave. I said cage.
they do their motto, and um, I will say this: you can speed through the motto. That saves you about a minute. Um,
but
and
but Jesse then goes, "We're here to collect all the Kabuto booty." And Meowth goes, "These will make a great doorstep at the boss's mansion." And the old man comes back and he's like, "Stop! If you disturb the Kabuto, a great disaster will happen." And they're like, "Really? Ha 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 ha. We wouldn't take them without giving you something in return." So James goes and throws a bomb, and the old man grabs it and he throws it over to Tracy. Tracy throws it over to Nurse Joy. Nurse Joy throws it to Misty, and Misty just slaps it down as if she was about to get a rebound in a basketball game. And freaking Ash grabs it, and Ash goes, "Huh?" And everyone's sitting behind a rock, and they're like, "Ash, that thing is gonna explode. Throw it away." And Ash is like, "Oh my god!" And he throws it, it explodes against the wall, and off the wall comes a whole bunch of Kabuto. And the Kabuto just start falling, and Team Rocket already has a net ready on the top of where they just came in through the cave. And now they're about to leave with all the Kabuto fossils with their Team Rocket balloon. And the reporter's like, "Oh man, these these thieves have just escaped with a catch of with a cache of Kabuto fossils right through the roof, and that's just where my numbers are gonna go when they see when the report starts airing all of this." And Misty just comes in. She's like, "Don't you TV people care about anything but ratings?" Which I think is a behind the scene.
yeah, I think that was a little jab there.
Yeah. So, um, Team Rocket starts escaping with all the Kabuto fossils, and Team Rocket's like, "Yeah, we finally won for once." And then we have the purple moon in the background that the old man was just talking about, and they're like, "Man, even that red moonlight can't stop us now." Of course, and then now the moonlight is shining on the Kabuto fossils, and all the Kabuto are now waking up because all they were doing was sleeping. And Ash is like, "Man, Pikachu, we've got to get all these fossils back." And they start running. And then Ash is like, "Come on, hurry." And then the light shines into the cave, and all the Kabuto start waking up inside of the cave as well. Doug?
So Ash is dumb. He's like, "Do fossils move?" And we just see like red eyes surrounding him, and the Kabuto fossils are coming back to life. That's impossible. And then the reporter, she's basically looking into the report of the century, and she's like, as incredible as it may seem, The ancient Kabuto fossils now appear to be alive, and one of them comes down on the camera, and the camera guy is like, ah,
And
and he
he
drops,
drops the camera.
and the reporter's like, everything we shot was in there, and we see the Kabuto are basically yeah, I was devouring the cameras, and the old guy's like, okay, seriously, run for it, and everybody um takes a break for the entrance as a freaking white wave of Kabuto is coming up behind him, and Misty's like, somebody
Help
wanted you
us.
to, and what does Misty say? She says something, and I completely lost it. What did she say?
She says someone wanted you to listen to all those ancient prophecies, but you didn't.
She
And
can't sit there and sit because she's just as guilty.
I know. Was she not telling this old man to shut up because he was trying to kill him?
Yeah,
And then we jump up to Team Rocket, and one of the Kabuto is clamored on top of Meowth's mouth, and he's like, "Get off!" And all the Kabuto have taken over the balloon, and they're just walking around. So they're just like a bunch of little tiny beetles. Like I do not like Kabuto. I will pick Ammonite any day of the week. Kabutos just give me the creeps because they remind me of little tiny beetles.
and one of the Kabutos is on top of the balloon, and he pops it, and we get the Team Rockets blasting off again as the balloon goes sideways into the horizon.
Yes.
And we're
And
back at the entrance of the cave, and everybody's running out. And
and
the
you're
team
telling
that's
me not one Kabuto stayed on that damn balloon so they could capture it or something? Come
right,
on.
um, and the team that stayed outside for I don't know reasons. Um, so what's the matter? Why is everybody leaving? And there's Joy's like, we've got to get everyone off this island immediately. And the guy's like, I don't understand. What's wrong? Um, and about that time, we get more rumbling, and we see Kabuto are falling off of the cliff's edge. Um,
So they're everywhere now.
yeah, they're everywhere, and they're just falling into the water, and waves are crashing, and Nurse Joy's like, this whole island must be built around the fossilized Kabuto, and one of the assistant researchers is like, so that means, and Nurse Joy has the big moment that you zoom in on in the movie. The island is breaking apart, and
There's nowhere to run.
we get and one of the researchers is like, let's head for the boat and get out of here. We can't. The boat's too far away. Um, maybe
And
we
then
can run to it. And then the old guy's like, the forest. Head to
yeah,
the forest.
he said the prophecy says when the sea comes to swallow you, flee to the forest, build rafts and save yourselves. And Ash is like, build rafts? And Peach is like, Pika. And they're like, oh no, we're all starting to sink. And he's like, to the forest. So they all start taking off to the forest. And then you have the stupid reporter in the background who doesn't start running. And she said, have you seen my makeup kit? And they're like, I think it's in the boat. And then we get a shot of the red moon again, and the red and all the Kabuto are just creepily just going into the water, just ill. You
We see
have
a Rhydon's knocking a tree down, and we've got Machokes and researchers are working to tie logs together, building what looks to be a pretty substantial raft, and and the reporter gets right in the frame again, and she's, "This is even more exciting than my
my
two
two
part
part.
special report on the what?
What's up?
It's a I don't recognize this Pokemon name.
Oh, okay. Let me go back to it.
My two-part special report on the Kadabra spoon removal. I'm sorry.
Yes, there you go.
The freaking pause messed me up. Yeah, the Kadabra spoon removal, and we see more commotion on the island, and we get more crashes as the it's beginning to sink more and more, and it's coming apart. You see more Kabuto shells falling into the ocean as the waves are starting to overtake everything, and you just see the island is literally like coming apart at the seams, and um, the waves are eventually flooding into the forest, and Misty's essentially on lookout, and she's like, "The water's coming," and you know the raft hits the water just in time, and he's like, "Everybody, steady!" and
Get on the raft.
and Ash throws out Lapras to help pull, and he throws out Squirtle, and Misty throws out Goldeen and Staryu, and they all take a chunk of rope, and um,
They're gonna
you
pull
know
off of this island.
they start to pull, and the animators do a good job of the rope just going into the Pokemon's mouths and stopping. It doesn't go around the neck, so nobody gets any ideas. Um, and the waves are crashing, and the trees are getting knocked down. And the Pokemon are dodging and weaving, and Lapras has to pull the raft through a tree at one point, and they're hanging on for dear life as they're getting smacked in the face by branches and are trying desperately to scramble to safety, and they get clear, and Ash goes, "I think we made it," and there's a big
Herd.
explosion,
It,
and
there's a herd of Kabuto just staring at him.
the island completely vanishes, and everybody's on the raft and like, well, isn't that some shit? And even
And
the old guy's just sitting there, and
Ash
yeah,
repeats the phrase. He's like, the moon will glow an angry red, and the land itself will vanish and be swallowed by the sea.
the
And
Kabuto are like, "That's fucking right."
just like the old man said, man, I'd be so creeped out by all of these Kabutos just looking at me. But and then there's Tracy over there documenting all of the Kabuto and making a nice little picture. He's like, man, he's like, the light is hitting them right, and he's like, their fossilized form. He's like, the red moon has awakened them. And Nurse Joy is like, maybe the Kabuto oil lets them live forever after all. And everyone's like, yeah. And she walks over to the old man. She's like, all I can say is that I am so very, very sorry. She's like, that I didn't believe the prophecy and the warnings that you gave us. And the reporter's like, I think it's best that the world never learns about the Kabuto secret. Yeah, because you don't have your damn equipment anymore.
Right.
If she had her equipment, she'd be ready to put this out on the 5 o'clock news tomorrow.
And the old guy's like, I think that's right, and he thanks him, and we get another shot of the Kabuto staring at the blood red moon, and going forward towards the horizon, and and they're like, where do you think the Kabutos are going? And they must be looking for some place where it's safe, a new home where they can rest in peace until they come alive again. And Ash tries to put a really like cartoony like special bow on things. He goes, "Well, I hope they find a safe new home. Never mind the fact that they tried to kill you." Um, and then we get a nice little bow tie line from the narrator about another Pokemon mystery in the world being revealed, and new surprises are ahead for our heroes, and
And that's the end of the episode.
a very tense episode with I'm gonna say it, a kind of lackluster ending.
Yep, very lackluster. They spent all of their time on the main story, and they're like, "Oh shit, this can only be a 18-minute episode
Yeah, because we still got to do the jukebox.
for real." But yeah, everybody, that was this week's episode. I'm gonna go ahead and give this episode a solid 3 because we do get some nice information about the Kabuto, even though they kind of creep me out. But Doug, what would you give them on your Duggometer?
I'm gonna give it a really solid 3.5, and if it had a better ending, that would have been a 4.
Yeah, a lot of action and a lot of different things going on in the episode, but yeah, it wasn't a bad episode. You see, and I don't think we're gonna have too many like really sour episodes of the Orange Islands because I mean they have nothing to lose, to be honest. They basically just made these episodes just for fun and as a filler anyway.
Right. So
So
yeah, like you said, they're kind of playing with house money. Exactly.
so yeah, they made all their money in Kanto. So but all right, but that's this week's episode. I do not have a Pokemon pack as of right now, and I'm sorry I did promise it last week, but I'm sorry. I have COVID, so I have no way of going and getting any of my Pokemon cards. So you guys are gonna have to bear with me, and I promise on the next recording, as long as I'm finally COVID free, that I will have a Pokemon pack for you. But other than that, do you have anything else to add, Doug?
No, this is yet another case of a kind of a so-so episode as you're watching it, but just in the course of reviewing it and kind of breaking down the details and seeing a handful of camera shots a couple times, you're like, there was a lot of action in this episode. It was like a great, what do you figure, like 15, 16 minute episode, but then you got to end it and it's like, we've kind of done all we can do.
Yeah,
Because
for
I mean,
real.
it's not like Ash was going to catch a Kabuto.
I mean, we've seen if this was if they had Brock in here, Brock would have went and snuck a damn Kabuto like he did that Zubat in that episode that we never saw him catch. So
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but I probably would have snuck a damn Kabuto in a Pokeball.
I mean, just for the sake of how many Kabutos am I legitimately going to come across in the wild? Probably none now.
None. And
So,
and I'm gonna be honest. The guy named Go in Pokemon Journeys right now, he caught a fucking Suicune.
oh no shit.
Yeah, he caught a Suicune. So if his ass can catch a damn Suicune, Ash could have caught a damn fucking Kabuto. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Throwing it.
nothing's off limits at that point. Exactly.
And Professor Oak ain't gonna go and spill no secrets. All he had to do was keep it and study it, and we could have learned a lot more about Kabuto. So,
Yeah.
but all right. But that being said, go ahead and say your goodbye for this week, Doug.
Bye, Doug.
All right, everybody, and this is Wrestling Chris G telling all of you, I will see you next week, everybody. Have a good night.